Alright, today we're going to make some bucket hats. I'm going to make a bucket hat. Kind of this style right here. We're using a pattern that I got from Sew Anastasia. That's her website, or her YouTube channel, and she has a website and she offered a free pattern. Here's the pattern for medium that I cut out. If you go on there, I'll have that link on in the descriptions or the comments. I modified it to make a little wider. So this is a standard brim. This is the larger brim, and it's pretty easy to modify as long as you keep the angles, the circumference correct. You can just extend this out. So I made a bigger brim, and I also made a taller side. This is the standard side. These are the side pieces. There's the standard. So same kind of concept, as long as you keep the part that's going to be sewed in and out, and then you just draw the line and you can make yourself a bigger one. So we'll be using the large brim and the medium sized top, and then the inner part is for the top and the inside. Here I just flip this out. I got these clamps. I kind of like it for material. It keeps the material centered like that. And then we'll get our little wheel. And so we're going to cut some brims with this. So you can use anything for a pattern weight. I just took some washers. Again, that was an idea that was on Sew Anastasia's YouTube channel. First, I have a big hunk of steel here I use for bigger patterns. I can kind of cut around it. But yeah, then we're just going to cut right around these and get them all cut. Okay, we got everything cut. So we got, these are the brims. It makes a little more sense when you see them. So you got 4 brim pieces, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So inside and outside. And then the top piece, which is going to be right here, so that's this hunk. And then the 2 outside pieces. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to use this camo for these 2 outside pieces. Okay. And then 2 more of those are going to be a liner. So you can choose whatever kind of liner you want. I just kind of like a little flannel. This one is fleece, actually. I did a fleece line. This one's kind of a nice warmer hat. So I'm going to go with this flannel. I thought was kind of cool. That's going to be the inside pieces. And then for that top, I thought I'd do something a little fancier. And so I haven't cut that one out yet, but I have it monogrammed with my initials, and then I'm going to put my little label like right there. And I thought it's easier to just do it on a hunk of a square piece like this, and then I can take and cut it out, as opposed to cutting this out and trying to get it centered. Now I can just perfectly center it. In fact, I can sew that on there right now and then cut it out, and that will be the inside of the cap. So that'll be kind of a little classy touch, you know. So the first thing you do with all these pieces, is you flip them inside out. So the good sides together, like that. So I kind of get them all lined up like that. And then once you get them, I've used these sewing clips. I get them on way whack. I don't use pins. I know a lot of people use pins. I've never used pins just because these clamps are pretty cool. Just boom, just clamp them together like that. And we're going to do this for all 4 of the outer pieces. All our pieces are clipped and ready to go, so we're just gonna get our seam allowance, which is a 1/4 inch, which or 3/8 of an inch, which on my machine kind of lines up with that feed dog there. I don't get too carried away with that. So let's make sure my machine is set right. See, back stitch. I'm just using Gutermann. Kind of their Sewzall. I think it's a Mara 100. Just kind of an all-purpose thread. Nothing too heavy duty. And a size 14 needle I think I got on there. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to sew all this stuff. I could do the fast motion thing where people do the sewing in fast motion, but you know, I'm not doing that. So basically, let's get this first one done. It's never a thing. So there's your first brim done. We're going to do that to all these, and then we can start to assemble it. I'll kind of show you how that works, but yeah. We have our top and inside lids cut out. The inside side liner. This is the bottom brim, top brim. This is the actual side of it. Now we're going to sew all this stuff together. So the first thing I always do is, here's the inside of the, or this is the outside, I'm sorry. The outside piece. And there's marks on the pattern that will say where the top and the sides are. And those are kind of nice. And there's like little slots there. So you can just, you know, if they're not there, I like to have them. And that's how you're going to pin it. And you pin the good side to the good side. And so this, you have to figure, in sewing, everything's kind of inside out and backwards. So basically, this is going to be the top of the cap. So I take one of these sides and I find that little mark and I just line it up. And then I take my clips and I clip one like that. And then maybe go to this side and kind of line it up, because there's the line for the side and it's going to line up with that side seam. And clip it up. Or if you like to use pins. And so basically what we're doing is we're insiding out these pieces. So there's the side pieces and there's the lid, but it's inside out. And then we're going to take and just clip this whole thing around, and then we're going to sew it. And then when we get that done, we're going to do the same thing with this brim. The brim's going to go like that, and we're going to have an inside out cap. And then we're going to do the same with that. So we'll get this clipped and we'll start sewing it. So we got everything pinned up here. Kind of looks kind of weird, but you can see there's inside out. There's going to be the top of the cap and there's the side of the cap. So now I just stuck a piece of painter's tape on there for my seam allowance just to keep that. And this is kind of the hardest part, I think, trying to sew curves, you know, on these curves. And you want a pretty heavy duty machine, because we're going to be going through 1, 2, at least 3 layers of canvas here at some point, going over this bump. And it'll get a little even more thicker once we get the brims put together and we start doing. But that's why I use these Kenmores, because you can take some plywood and sew a boat with these babies. So I usually start right in the kind of in the bump here. Kind of get around there. This is a free arm machine, so I mean I can take this off. I guess at this, not with this tape I can't. There we go. There we go. Because I'm going to be needing the free arm option here soon when I start doing the other stitches. But okay, just make sure everything's kind of clipped there, and this, like I say, doing this circle is always kind of difficult. So now I have that tape there. That kind of just makes it a little bit nicer. And yeah, we'll just stitch all the way around, and once we get that done, then we're going to fold it out, and there's another little operation we're going to do here. I'll show you what that is in a second. Okay, let's make sure we got this. Oh, sit on that small stitch. There we go. Okay. Back stitch it, and then just start going around. Try not to pucker these, because it's gonna. Sometimes it wants to pucker there, but you just kind of, you just take your time. Pour yourself a drink or a beer or whatever, and just take your time and just go around, and it works pretty good. You just we'll just go all the way around that, and then we'll almost got her. Fold those flat, and you get, so we're coming back to where we started from. And it seems like the material is, that should go under the foot. There we go. Like I say, it's just kind of it's an awkward thing to sew, these circles, but right, and it lines right up at the last stitch, and there we go. And let's see how this one turned out. This is going to be my own hat, so I guess it's not for somebody. It doesn't look too bad. Oh, right there. See that? I kind of got a little wrinkle in there. So there's that little, not a big deal, but, and there's another one there. That's not too bad. So there's going to be this part. So we're getting there. But this stitch here, this will be the next operation. That stitch there kind of gives it some strength, and it makes it look good. And I'm going to use a top stitch machine over there. I'm going to use some gold, like jeans type thread, and get that done. And we'll do the same thing when we do the brim. We're going to do the same thing on the outside. So, but it's starting to kind of look like a hat, sort of. We're getting there. I kind of like the color, sort of. It's different. You can, to your own hat maker, you can do whatever you want, right? I guess obviously I'm into camel and green, so you like to keep the stitching is going to go right along there, and we want to keep that seam folded down and in, so that seam's going to hold. It looks nice, and it also holds that other little seam piece in. So we're definitely going to use the free arm on this, so we're going to have to take that off. Okay, I'm set up like right on the seam, because we're going to just back stitch, and we're going to go all the way around. And this is where there's about, I think there's probably 6 layers to go through here. So that's where you back stitch it, and then I just try to keep it, that thing should stay right there, and I kind of keep it right on the edge. So yeah, just go all the way around. We're going to do that twice. We're going to do it once we get the brim on. I kind of make sure that material stays kind of tight like this. And we're coming all the way around here now. You can see where we started. Get my little tweakers here. Should trim this right away. My Fred Sanford sewing machine supplies tweakers. And that's a place to buy old vintage sewing machine parts. Fred Sanford, and there we go. We'll back stitch that. And yank this out. And there is, oh, this is showing up on the camera, but that's how that will be. So that looks pretty nice. Nice little added touch. You can use any color you want. Like I say, you can go with, I have this gold, so it looks, maybe black would look better there, but we're going with gold because that's what I got in this machine. So the next step is the brim. Kind of similar. I got the hat back inside it out, and we're going to take the good side and clamp it on the good side of that, the inside. So we're just going to go all the way around with these again. I just like these better than pins, I'm sure. A real seamstresses use pins, but I don't know. I use them on some stuff, but these clamps are great. Alright, our brim is all pinned. It kind of looks funny, it's inside out, but this is how it'll be. And it's kind of the same thing with the sides. I definitely have the free arm out now. I kind of start at pop that out right at one of the seams there. That's just what I do. Flip her down. I got my tape lined up for my seam allowance. Back stitch it, and this is a little easier to sew than that top. That top's always kind of tricky, but this kind of goes pretty good. Just take your time. Make sure you don't have any wrinkles in it. See what this looks like. Get our little trimming done. So once I flip this out, it'll look like a hat now, maybe. Oop, I should just do this. Look at this. This is starting. It actually looks like a hat. This is the top of the hat. Top of the brim. We're gonna make another one inside the liners over there, and we're gonna go back over to that top stitching, and we're gonna do the exact same thing we did here. That really nice looking top stitching. You can see that I did such a good job, and we're gonna do the same thing. Okay, just got done with that bottom top stitch. You can kind of see how that looks pretty good. And so this is the whole top of the hat's done. So we just need to make the liner now. So we can set this aside and we'll work on the liner. Alright, we got this thing all pinned just like the last top part of the hat. The only difference is that we're going to leave about a 2-inch unsewed portion. So we'll back stitch, we'll sew all the way around, and we'll get to here and we'll stop. And I just put 2 clips there just to remind myself to stop right there. So I'll stop here, and we'll leave that, because that is going to be the piece that the entire hat is going to have to come inside it out through. And then when you're all done, then you'll sew that part up. So what we're going to do, I guess, we got this hat here. We're going to take this hat here, and we're just going to put them inside out on top of each other like this. And we'll line up the brims real careful with the seams, so the seams are all on. We'll get all that lined up. We'll get it pinned out, and then you can see then you make the final stitch all the way around. That's what makes that nice little seam there, all the way around, and then we'll inside it out, and then then you can do all the, like a bucket hat has all these stitches on the brim to kind of reinforce, or you can do different designs I've done. But we'll get this thing pinned up and ready to sew. Okay, so there it is. There's the hat. Now we have to take, where's that little opening? There it is, right here. So the whole hat has to come through this hole right here. So we're going to do that right now. Hopefully the hole is big enough. It always seems like it's not going to work, but okay, seems like you're going to wreck it. So now it's coming out. The birth of a hat. It's probably not worth wearing. Okay, I think it worked. Okay, let's see. Does it look like a hat? I have to kind of figure out where everything goes. Okay, looks like it's just a big bag right now. There we go. There's our brim. It's taking form. So there's the liner. There's the hat. So I'll use my finger. Oh, look at that, huh? I like the color. It looks great. So you got this little hole here, so I'll kind of push those out. Just make sure the seam gets nice and crisp there. And when I do that, then I take and I add a pin. Alright, we got the brim all formed. I got it all pushed out. And I got it pinned, so now we're just going to run around, and looks like I'm running out of thread there. So just close as you can right on the edge and all the way around. Alright, what we're going to do now is sew this inside seam up. So we had that little gap, and I just clamped it right here and just tucked it in, and we'll just make a seam right across. There we go. And that's all nice and sewed up now. So next thing we're going to just is add a few more stitches to our brim. Now I'll just put it on its longest stitch length. I'll just start right there. And then that's going to give me a nice little line right there. So, you can see we ended up right where we started, so now I have one row of stitching there, and I'll probably make another row. I was thinking of making a design there, perhaps, but you can make as many rows as you want. You know, maybe 1, 2 more rows would be nice. Okay, the next step, last step on this hat is we're going to add a couple of vent holes. Either side we're going to use our buttonhole. There we go, got 2 holes, we'll punch them out. And like I say, we'll put a little, as soon as we punch those holes out, we'll put a little sealant in there. And we're done.